Hello,
Nice
hello.
to meet you.
It's great to meet you. Thanks for coming here.
Quite somewhere to be sat.
It is,
in
isn't
the
it?
middle of it all.
The Magnificent Air Studios.
I know. We actually got to see a little bit of the score being recorded earlier in this very room. What's it like for you as a producer, seeing it all come together?
Oh well, this is the gravy. This is the best part of the whole process. It's a long 4-year process. As you know, animation is just handcrafted pixel by pixel, and you spend a lot of years just drawing the story out in sketch form, in pencil form, in storyboards, and building up and ripping it down again, and building up and ripping it down again. And it's only really in the last couple of years that you start to see the real film come together, that you start to see animation and the models and the surfacing and the lighting. And so this is almost the last stage. We just wrapped animation last week, and we're in the last day of scoring, so it's fantastic. It's really rewarding to see it come together. We love this part.
Speaking of the score,
Yeah.
at what point in the production does Lorne, the composer, get involved in the film?
So we probably started talking with him, it was the early part of the year last year. I mean, we knew for a long time that we wanted Lorne to be the composer. We'd worked with him before, and he'd worked on the previous Madagascar films as well. He's partnered a lot with Hans Zimmer in the past, who worked on those films. And we started chatting in earnest a few months ago. But we'd known for the last year or more that it was going to be him. And then our release date changed. We actually got ahead of ourselves. We were going to be releasing next year, and then we decided to release in the holidays this year. So then we kind of really got our sprint on. When we started off talking about it, we thought, we've got all the time in the world, we're so far ahead, and let's just have a long lunch and talk about the possibilities. And then suddenly we're like, actually, now we're kind of in a bit of a hurry. So the long lunch has ended, and we got stuck into the scoring. So the last few months have been the intensive period. We've gone through all the ideas, and Lorne's been pitching what his thoughts are, and we've whittled it down and got to this place where everyone's incredibly excited about the score. It's a beautiful, beautiful score, and I can't say enough about how fantastic Lorne is. You'll get to talk with him later, won't
Yes,
you?
yeah, we will.
He's wonderful.
How much input do you as a producer have in actually what direction the score goes into?
As the least musical person on the production, I was able to be the audience member, which is it makes me feel like this, and I'm getting this feeling from it, and whether it's reflective of what I feel the scene is about, at a really visceral level. But my two directors, Simon and Eric, happily are much more musical, and we're able to, I think, talk with Lorne more on the level of, specific cues and specific keys and musical influences, and I think we worked quite hard in the early days not to make it too sort of Bondian. It would have been a very easy way to take it too much of a parody. Is something we were always aware that we didn't want it to become a parody in any way of the spy genre. We wanted it to be very much have its own identity, and to be reflective not only as the Penguin characters, who are these plucky kind of can-do heroes, these kind of life hackers. We wanted it to have that spirit to it, but we also wanted it to feel like a grown-up score as well. We wanted it to be reflective of the scale of the film as well, which is this kind of epic spy adventure.
Well, this is one of the things we observed when we were watching earlier, is it does feel really epic and almost adult, actually, the score. It feels like it can stand up on its own and not just as an accompaniment to the movie. Is that something you were really going for?
Absolutely, and that's what Lorne brings for free, because he works on grown-up movies. He partners with Hans Zimmer, as I say. He's worked on Chris Nolan's films, and, so he does work on very grown-up films. And so it was incredibly important to partner with a composer who would bring all of that, because in no way do you want to dilute the scale or the drama of the story at the expense of the comedy and the charm and the humour and the family element. So he was able to temper it really well and balance the two beautifully. It's easy to go too cartoony. It's also easy to go too adult and too grounded, and finding that middle ground is the real art of it.
And getting back to the film itself, what made you guys really think that, obviously everyone loves the Penguins and the Madagascar films. What was it about them specifically that you thought, right, these guys can do a movie on their own?
They've always been growing as characters. They started off as like one joke in the first Madagascar film, and suddenly one joke became a couple of scenes, became a few scenes, became this entire family of characters who have now, with every successive film, they've taken up more and more screen time. Although when we put it all together, across all the films, it's less than 10 minutes. And I don't think you would ever know that, given the kind of impression that they made. And they've obviously had their own TV series too. And I just think it just became apparent that these guys are bigger than the role they occupy in the Madagascar films, and that they were ready to take on their own adventure.
What's the storyline of this movie?
So the storyline of this movie was really tell the backstory of the Penguins, to find out where they came from and their whole history, because they are these amazing characters, these little waddling penguins who have this amazing sense of purpose and mission and confidence, and this kind of paramilitary unit. So we really wanted to let people know where they'd come from and to describe their whole history and how they came together as a team. So we tell their origin story, and then we bring it forward into the present day, post Madagascar 3, and we bring them into a big spy adventure on a global scale where they have to combat a truly world-class supervillain in the form of John Malkovich. And while they're doing that, they also have to go up against a rival team of spies led by Benedict Cumberbatch's character and save the world.
Well, how did you get people like Benedict Cumberbatch and John Malkovich to sign on to this? Are they fans of the Madagascar films?
I think they're fans of animation and of great stories and great movies. So we went and we talked to them about the characters and the idea for the story. We showed them artwork, we showed them what their characters would look like, and pitched them the storyline. And we were incredibly fortunate that they both said yes.
So come Christmas 2014, we're all going to be watching these penguins with this brilliant score. Thank you very much.
Thanks, lovely to meet you.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!